What's up guys, I'm eHouse.
I'm Kyle.
And today we have a video that we've been waiting to do for a long time. Took us a while to get the supplies to do it, and it also took us a while now to get the opportunity to come out and do it, but here we are. We are going to be attempting to answer a question that we see posed all the time with a little bit of pseudoscience at least.
Ton of pseudoscience.
Yeah, ton of pseudoscience is what we're going to be doing today. We are going to be testing this. This looks like a standard Krytac hop-up unit with a standard Krytac spec Prometheus barrel, which it is. But other than that, it is actually a Hop Systems RHOP drop-in kit. I actually ordered this from Hop Systems for the intention of doing this RHOP comparison test because the last thing I wanted was to do the installation myself and have everyone accuse me of messing it up if the results go one way or the other. So this is a professionally done RHOP kit, and we're going to be testing this against the stock hop-up bucking that comes with your standard Krytac. The Krytac bucking is a bucking that I've had a lot of really good luck with for a lot of guns for several years now. It's been my go-to drop-in simple hop-up bucking, but a ton of people swear by RHOP. So I bought this, and today we're going to put it to the test by seeing if it actually gives you greater effective range and if it actually gives you greater accuracy. And we're going to do this with a variety of BB weights to establish as much as we've done to try to eliminate variables. This is an AEG, so a limitation of the test is this is not an HPA system, so I know a lot of people will say it's too inconsistent to notice the difference. Tons of people run RHOPs and AEGs, so I think that's kind of moot.
Also, your fluctuations are very low. I mean,
my fluctuations in velocity with good BBs is like plus or minus 5 feet per second at the high end, so it's pretty minor. I've also stabilized my outer barrel in my upper receiver with JB Weld, so that outer barrel does not move. The inner barrel is the Prometheus Krytac spec barrel that is appropriate for this barrel length I have running, and the O-ring stabilizes the inner barrel, and it's a really tight fit getting these in and out, so there is no inner barrel vibration.
Correct, and yeah, and we have both Promi barrels in both of these, so everything is as close as we can get it. We had it professionally done, so nobody can claim that we did a terrible hack job. This is it. Either this is going to work or it's not. We're gonna settle the bro science.
Also, both buckings are both hop-up. Actual rubbers are brand new, except I did put just about 1,500 rounds through each of them to get them to break in, because hop-up break-in is a very real thing. We just watched it.
We watched it happen. It is a real thing.
So we broke in the hop-ups, which now both of these seem very good, but we'll see how they do in the testing. They're the same barrel length, they're the same manufacturer of hop unit, they're going with the same gearbox. Everything is the same for all intents and purposes, except for the actual hop itself. Now we're gonna do the ranging test. We have our friend Matt here. This is Matt from Amped. He made fun of Kyle dropping his Krytac at Battle for Concrete City, so we're shooting at him today. We're gonna put him at various ranges and see if we can hit him.
Sorry, Matt. Not sorry.
Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do before we even start anything is we're gonna chrono as we test, because I wanna see if switching from the stock hop-up setup, which is what I have right now, to the RHOP setup, I want to see if that changes anything in terms of velocity so that we can take that into consideration. So right now we have 0.28 gram BBs from Krytac in here. We are going through 3 different BB weights. We started at 2/8 because, quite honestly, if you're shopping for an RHOP and you're not using at least 2/8, why are you shopping for an RHOP? So we have Krytac 0.28s. I've actually run these over a chrono before and found them to be more consistent than many other brands of 0.28s. So we selected those for the 2/8s. We have G&G 0.33 gram BBs. G&G BBs, been around forever. Everyone knows they're pretty good. And then we have the ASG 0.4 gram BBs as the heaviest BB weight that we're testing. We don't have anything heavier than that, but the ASG 0.4s are very good ammo, so we're using those. And that's what we're gonna be using for the testing. So start out, let's get a chrono reading with the Krytac bucking with the Krytac 2/8s. I have Mongoloid arms, which makes this easy. 319.9. 320.8, 321.9, 319.9. So that's again what we were talking about earlier with my fluctuations in velocity with this gun. That was actually plus or minus 2 feet per second. So we're certainly not running into a limitation of the platform with this, I don't think. Also, our target fell over.
God damn it.
As Kyle goes to reset that, I'm going to talk about another limitation that we have actually, is we are filming this outside. Filming indoors would be nice, but we actually don't have any indoor facilities with enough range to do what we want to do. So we're filming on a nice, pretty calm day, maybe a 3 to 5 mile per hour crosswind. You'll probably see it as we start shooting. We will compensate for that with Kentucky windage and just seeing how many times we can hit Matt out there. Overall though, it's a pretty calm day. This should be pretty representative of what you can expect at an outdoor field using these respective setups. All right, so we've got Matt out there at 150 feet right now. We're just gonna see if we can hit him. We actually already did it where we ranged the 2.8s out to our ideal trajectory where they go out, float up just a little bit before they start floating back down. We're gonna try to keep the same trajectory as we adjust each of these setups for their range, and we'll play with them a bit if we need to. We're also bench resting, even though that doesn't make a huge difference in BB wars generally. I've got a little bit of a bench rest here, so that'll help us make sure that it's not me sucking whether or not we're missing. So overall, we did a pretty good job hitting Matt. We did have a few flyers. That may be due to the bucking, that may be due to the BBs. It could be any number of things, but we did hit Matt generally. So let's put him out at 200 and see if we can still hit him. All right, as Kyle's walking out, I want to talk about what we're doing now. It occurred to us when we were filming the 150-foot test that you may or may not be able to hear the cardboard hits. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Kyle go out and call the hits, and hopefully that will, when he's calling them out audibly, you'll be able to actually hear whether or not we hit. So we went straight out to 200 feet for this, because 150 feet, as you saw, not really any trouble. So we're trying 200 now, and this is where things will get interesting. And of course, Kyle is out there calling the hits with a dye mask, full face protection, just because I am shooting in his direction. Okay, so I think that's enough. I think what you see there is that you do run into, at about 200 feet, that's the cap of when you're keeping a flat trajectory really, that you can still keep on shooting with a standard hop-up bucking with 2.8 gram BBs. At this point, we're running into issues of accuracy at range with a standard AEG. So I think we've just about reached the limitation of what we can do with 2.8s with this gun. What would you say, Kyle?
I would agree with that assessment, because we're getting, about 30% hit, once you had the hop-up dial.
Yeah, once I had the hop-up dialed and once I had everything windaged, I think we really ran into a limitation of just how far you could shoot.
Yeah, we're not going to reach any farther with 2.8s. It's just not going to happen.
All right. I want to reiterate something before we continue the test. I want to reiterate that this is actual measured distances. We measured this 200 feet manually with a tape measure in increments, walking out, marking the increments with marking paint. This is not, we eyeballed it and that looks to be about 200 feet. That is dead nuts, almost exactly 200 feet from the muzzle of this gun to that target. So we are actually doing real measured range test, not, oh, this one time I made a shot at 350 feet. You probably didn't. So we have here the 3.3s. I'm gonna get these ranged in, and then we're gonna try shooting at 200 feet with 3.3s, which also is gonna serve as a little bit of a BB weight test to see how this goes. All right, so we've got the hop up dialed in, at least as best as we can tell. So Kyle's gonna go out, and we are going to see how many times we can hit Matt at 200 feet with 3.3s with the standard Krytac bucking. So that's actually pretty impressive performance at 200 feet. We were hitting almost every shot with 3 threes. I was aiming it up just a little bit because, again, you do run into that issue with the limited trajectory, but we were able to hit 200 feet almost every shot with 3 threes, which I think also demonstrates the difference with BB weight, that we had less side-to-side variation, and as a result, we were making way more hits. So that's actually really good performance right there. Do we want to try 225?
Yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
Turn the hop up one more click and see if we can do it.
All right. So we're going to turn the hop up like 1 or 2 more clicks, and we're going to see if we can get 225 feet with the G&G 3 threes and this hop-up setup. At this point, this video has just become way more fun than it should be, so we're in for a ride. Okay, so now we have the target out at 225 feet. Kind of a stretch goal here, but we gained a lot of effective accuracy at range with the 3 threes, so we're gonna see if we can push it. Just short?
You're hitting here.
So like 5 feet short pretty much, if that. I'm gonna turn the hop up 1 click and see what that does. All right, so we're turning the hop up just a little bit. I mean, they're floating out there. Just offhand, got the first hit. I wasn't even trying to hit it that time. Okay, so we've actually made several hits at 225 feet with the G&G .33s and the Krytac bucking. Anytime the wind switches, it switches where it's going, so it can reach, but now we're just at that range where the wind is making such a difference that we've pretty much reached the edge of our usable range. We can make hits out to here, but it's not as likely just because any amount of conditions between here and there is going to affect the point of impact. Would you say that's fair? I think that's like the limit.
The absolute, you know what? That's the suppression limit.
Yeah, like if we were in full auto with a saw.
But you can suppress a little bit further.
Yeah, if we were in full auto with a saw, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Let's try the 4s.
Yeah, let's try the 4s. And you know what? Because the 3 threes have set the standard, so if they can't do less, why use them?
Yep. All right, so now we're trying .4s at 225 feet. Let's see how this goes. This ought to be interesting. I wonder if it'll even have enough hop.
That was the thing we're concerned about, is having enough.
Yeah, like I'm wondering if the stock bucking setup is gonna be able to hop .4s to do this. Out of curiosity, I'm also gonna chrono the .4s just to see what this is shooting with them. Because we were at 320 just about with 2/8. Yeah, we're at consistently 232 with .4s. The fluctuation was literally 0.3 feet per second. So 232 with .4s. So this thing's moving pretty slow at this point. Okay, so actually 225 feet with 0.4 gram BBs, we were able to make a lot of hits. So it's moving slow and it takes a while to get there, but we can make the shots. They can get out there and they can do it, which quite frankly is pretty damn good. 225 feet?
Yeah, that's
for a sub 400 feet per second with 2's AEG. Pretty happy with that. I think we've established the outer limit of the effective range though, because this is as high as the hop up will go, and that's as far as the BBs will go, no matter what weight we use. It just seems that the consistency of our hits goes up.
Yeah, well, also, we had an arc, there was a bit of an arc.
There was a bit of an arc. We were aiming a little bit over.
Yeah, because if I was standing at the center of the arc, it would have gone over me.
Yep.
So
that's going to be how you zero your optic and how you have to make hits at different ranges.
Correct, yeah.
Because I was aiming over the target at that range, because my optic is zeroed for, what the heck? My optic is zeroed for the middle of the arc at about 100 feet.
Yeah.
So at this point, we've pretty much reached the edge of what we can do effectively with the stock hop-up bucking. We have pushed all the way out to 225 feet of being able to pretty consistently make hits if we arc just over, but that's about the limit because the hop-up is turned literally all the way up.
Yep.
So we are at the limit of what we can do with this setup. So what we're gonna do is we're going to put in the R-hop now, and we're gonna see what kind of performance we get out of that. At this point, I feel like we're just gonna start at 200 feet with the 2.8s.
Yeah.
Because that kind of seems to be the benchmark.
That's the benchmark.
Yeah, if the R-hop is gonna be worth it, it needs to match that kind of performance or exceed it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about with how tight this fit is. If you watch as I put the R-hop setup into this upper, it's pretty nuts. It's a really tight fit. Like, you gotta force it in there, which is good because that means that there's no inner barrel fluctuation, but it is tight. So there is absolutely no way that inner barrel fluctuation is a factor in this. So as you see with my gun, I mean, my velocity fluctuation is absolutely minimal. Everything is very stable, and I think that speaks for itself with the results. The fact that a sub 400 feet per second AEG is reaching out to 225 feet. I think that speaks for itself. But let's get a chrono reading for this thing. 334, 332, 334.3, 330.7, and 331.9. So 330 to 334 is what we're getting for velocity with 2.8s. So this actually shoots a little hotter, the R-hop, than the standard hop-up setup. Maybe that's because the way the R-hop works offers less resistance, but let's see if we can duplicate the range results. So it's getting out there, and I'd say the hit percentage is about the same as it was at 200 feet with the standard hop-up with 2.8s. I think the issue that we're running into is, I think 2.8s just hit their max effective range.
200 feet, man.
Yeah, I think threes are better 200 feet and out. Threes go out further, and they're more effective at that range.
Yep.
So now we have 3 threes in the R-Hop going for 225 feet. We'll see if we can get better hit ratio even than we got with the standard hop.
Hit me. Just over top. Hit. Hit. Right. Just left. Hit. Right, right. Hit. Right. Right. Hit.
The wind shifted, so now it's fucking with it.
Yeah. Well, I think that gives a pretty good idea, though.
I think what we're running into is more side-to-side inconsistency because of the wind shifting, but the range, it'll get out there.
Now, is that a little? I'm trying to remember. With 3 threes with the standard bucking, how was that? What were we doing? Did we get 225?
We were getting 225, just about the same. We were running into the side-to-side inconsistency being our limit. I think the consistency was there, generally speaking, but the wind.
It's the wind, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of wind going on there.
All right, let's try the 4s. Okay, so we're gonna see what the R-Hop system, how that chronos with 0.4s compared to how the last one did. The last one, if you recall, was about 232 feet per second with 0.4s. 263. 259, 261.9, 262.4. So this is just about 30 feet per second more velocity with 0.4s than the stock hop-up had. So let's see how it does out at range. I should also note that I have a pretty good trajectory on this, and I have the hop set to like 9.5, whereas I had to turn the hop all the way up on the other setup in order to get it to hop 0.4s effectively. Yeah, it's the wind at this point.
But I'm seeing more consistency here.
Also of note, I'm not aiming above the target.
Okay. Hit. Just left. Hit. Just right. Hit.
So I feel like the trajectory is flatter, but it's holding that trajectory for longer.
I agree.
So summary of results at 225 feet with the R-Hop. Actually very good. The R-Hop, I noticed, seems to allow me to dial in the heavy BB better, so that's a little bit of a flatter trajectory that still gets that nice lift right at the end. So I think my theory about the R-Hop letting you use heavy BBs better is the case.
I think at the hop up extremes is, yeah, it's where it's making the difference, because it does, I watched the trajectory, it's much flatter. So I think
the R-Hop is the better choice for really heavy BBs.
I think 4's it.
Yeah.
I don't think anything less than 4's and anything less than that FPS. Because I bet if we put that in my gun, that R-Hop, it wouldn't have the proper range.
No, because you're only using 3s.
Yeah.
So let's try 225 or 250. Okay guys, we are trying something crazy. We have that target. Can we even see the target from here? Kyle, make some noise and jump up and down. Yeah, so we have that target at 250 feet. This is the absolute limit of what we can get out here. This is all the way across this clearing. We are shooting at a man-sized target at 250 feet. We're using ASG .4s. We're using the Hop Systems R-Hop drop-in kit with the 6.03 millimeter Prometheus barrel. That is the Krytac spec. I should mention it is not lapped in any way. And this Krytac customized CRB. So we're going to see if we can get 250-foot hits. Here we go. Holy shit. And that's our ammo. So, with the R-Hop, it will allow you to stretch your range out to 250 feet if you use 0.4 gram BBs, which I think is really the determining factor. So my hypothesis that the R-Hop's biggest benefit was the way it would hop heavier BBs is absolutely the case.
Well, you know what? There is one thing that we can't really address here because of a limitation. On the standard hop up, we are maxing out our hop.
We are.
So if we had more hop, would it?
But you know what you would need for more hop? Because the reason that's a limitation of the standard hop up is because if you protrude more into the chamber, you can jam it.
Gotcha.
This can apply more hop with less protrusion into the chamber because of the flat type nub.
Gotcha.
And as a result, that applies the hop for a longer period of time.
Okay.
So the way that this works is what allows you to get more hop without extruding into the chamber, which is also why it has a higher velocity.
Makes sense.
So that's what it really is just the way the hop works allows you to take advantage of heavier BBs.
Correct.
That's its main advantage.
But I think they have to be 4s.
So what did we learn here today?
We learned that heavier BBs are the best BBs.
Yeah, as a summary of our results, because I'll probably actually put this before all the shooting footage.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So we tried out several different BB weights. We tried out 2.8s, 3.3s, and 4s. And we had the best results at long range with 4s. They took a long time to get there. We lost about almost 100 feet per second, about 80 or 90 feet per second between using the 0.28s and the 0.4s, but they took a long time to get there, but they were way more accurate when they got there. And as a result, with those heavyweight BBs, we were able to push our effective range with the standard hop up, our maximum getting hits with any kind of consistency range, which bear in mind, we're being pretty generous because we are outside and we did have wind to deal with. Our maximum range was about 225 feet. With the R-Hop, our max range was pushed to about 250 feet. With 0.4 gram BBs, we were able to make good hits at 250 feet on our friend Matt here. So that's pretty impressive, and I think the reason for that is inherent to the way the R-Hop works. Now, with standard BB weights like 2.8s and 3s, and even 3.3s, I wouldn't say there was a significant difference between the two with how they worked.
No.
But the R-Hop does have one very important feature. It allows you to put better hop on heavier BBs. I had the hop up on the standard Krytac hop up bucking maxed out to get 0.4s to float out barely to 225 feet. And I was aiming above the target a good ways. With this, I was aiming not nearly as much above the target at 225 feet. I was pretty much like on the top of it with my red dot. And bear in mind, we were doing all this with a red dot, which is pretty awesome. And it was able to make those kind of hits. And then I was aiming a good ways above it for 250, but I was able to guesstimate and Kentucky windage it and drop it right onto the 250 foot target. And if I had turned it up even more, I might have been able to make it overhop enough that it would have gone pretty much straight there. But at that point, you're running into the issue where it kind of goes out of control. But I was able to do that with the 9.5 hop up setting, as opposed to the full 15 for the regular bucking.
Correct. Yeah, I would say, but another thing to mention, this FPS I think is the minimum that you're going to want to run 4s in, because we also did try 4s in my PDW, and now my PDW, it was 243 with 3s, and when we tried 4s in that, it couldn't lift the 4s.
No.
And this is the same bucking as this, which could just barely lift the 4s. So if you're doing this and you're saying, hey, yeah, I want to get that R-Hop, I want to run those 4s, you don't want to be running lower FPS than this, because otherwise you're not going to see it and it's not going to work.
I think R-Hop's biggest benefit is you want at least like 360 feet per second.
At least.
For a good R-Hop setup. Otherwise, you're not going to really notice the difference when you step up to heavier BBs. But then again, you are going to be able to hop those heavier BBs at a lower velocity with the R-Hop.
Correct.
So R-Hop may actually have a better benefit for that, for allowing you to take advantage of heavier BBs at a lower velocity.
I bet if I had the R-Hop in my PDW, it would allow me to inch a little more range using 3.3s over my 3s.
You would also gain some velocity.
And I would gain a little bit of velocity. But the cost of buying a pre-built system, if you're not going to do it yourself, I don't think it's worth it at that level. I think this is the benchmark where it becomes worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think if you're putting this into a DMR and you're planning on using heavyweight BBs, absolutely worth it for a DMR setup or for a really consistent, good HPA setup, because a lot of HPA users swear by heavy BBs because HPA really likes them.
Yeah.
But as for if you're using less than 0.4s, I'm not sure as it's worth it.
I don't think
but
so.
For the heavy BBs, it does allow you to stretch your effective range. We were able to get out to 250 feet on a target that's about the same size as an average human.
Yep.
So that's pretty damn good.
And there were flatter trajectories.
Yep.
Because with the other, when we were able to reach out to 225 with this, what would happen if there was someone in the middle of the arc, we could have actually shot over them and hit the person behind them.
Yeah.
Which is this, that would not have happened. So that's important to keep in mind as well.
Well, because ultimately, I think the biggest difference maker was BB weight.
BB weight, yeah, BB weight.
So the takeaway is an R-Hop system worth it? Doing it yourself is probably more worth it if you feel comfortable and confident doing it yourself, because if you're planning on using really heavy BBs and you want that build to really reach out and touch someone with those heavy BBs, dropping $175 for 25 extra feet of range in your standard AEG, if it's 25 extra feet of range, again, if you're using 0.4s, I usually don't. So for me, this setup is kind of like, I may or may not really use it. I might put it into, if I were to ever build a DMR, but I'll probably keep it because it's good.
It's good.
It's just, it's not any better than a standard hop up if you're not using super heavy BBs.
Correct. I would agree with that.
At least a
assessment.
Krytac hop-up, because the Krytac hop-up bucking is really, really good.
Correct, yeah. Other hop-ups you may see a more dramatic improvement over, but overall, I would say, if you don't want to run 4s, don't buy this. That's really what it comes down to. Because a lot of people, 90% of airsofters love 2.5s. They love 2.5s. But I can tell you, secret, if you run heavier BBs, you'll go further.
Yep.
And if you want to, but the other problem with 4s, you have to be ready for the cost. Because, I mean, how much did that ASG bottles cost?
I think I bought 4,000 of those ASGs for like 90 bucks.
It's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, for good quality 0.4 gram BBs.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to switch actually to 0.3s after seeing how this shot with 0.3s.
I agree, yeah. Threes are going to be a good way to go.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to keep the R-Hop and put it in with 0.3s just because it is really good. Just, I don't think it's that much better than stock, but I bought it and I might as well use it.
I agree. Yeah, so I think that pretty much sums up, you know, is the R-Hop worth it? Maybe if you're using the heaviest BBs and you're shooting far enough and you're willing to spend the cost, yeah, it can be worth it. But for 90–95% of people, no, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I think if you do it yourself, it might be more worth it, but buying a pre-built drop-in,
Yeah. And if you're like me and you think power tools are the answer to everything, don't do it yourself. Don't do it.
Overall, though, I think we were pretty impressed with the range we were able to stretch out of this Krytac.
It did better than I thought.
Yeah, it did really well. If you're looking for a super heavyweight BB compatible setup, give Hop Systems a look if you want to pay a professional to do it. I think they did good work with this.
Yeah.
It took a while to get, which is kind of...
should we talk about how they...
well, it took about 5 weeks to get because the barrel was out of stock, but I didn't get a notification about that.
Didn't you also email them with no response?
Yeah, I had to email them. They did respond.
Oh, they did?
But I had to email them. I wish that, you know, for Hop Systems, if you're watching this, I just, you know, let people know if something's out of stock. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's really good work. If you're looking for a good R-Hop setup for your DMR that you're going to be using super heavy BBs in, I think it's a good upgrade.
I agree.
Other than that, though, I think we've established that heavy BBs are the answer to long-range shooting. They take a while to get there, but when they get there, they're where you want them.
Yep, I agree. Less wind impact and more range.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty impressed with what we're able to do, and that's about it. All right, I'm E-House.
I'm Kyle.
And thank you very much to Matt Smith from Amped Airsoft for joining us on this adventure. You'll have a good one.